Poor network. Hello, Facebook. I hope you're going to be okay today. So welcome to everybody who's new. This is my studio, part of it. Anyway, these are in Southwest London and it's my little Wellbeing studios where normally I have my lovely team here producing the magazine and all the digital online stuff. And of course, everybody is now working from home. But we are beginning to creep back to normal. I'm actually recording a podcast. I did one last night with Jay Shetty. I don't know if you've come across him, but he's like mega podcaster. He's got, I think, 35 million followers on YouTube, which is quite amazing. Anyway, that will go out in September with our new series, and I'm recording one later on this afternoon here with the team, kind of all safely distanced. So that will be really nice. So just beginning to ease back into things. But for now, you've just got me, so I hope that's okay. Actually, you know what? You haven't just got me because you've got some very noisy, annoying scaffolders, okay? Just out there. When I turned up this morning, I thought, what is that clanking noise? And the flats behind me, I don't know what they're doing, but they're just putting up scaffolding, so typical. And I thought maybe they'd take their lunch break, at 12:30 to be quiet. But no, they took their lunch break, I think, at about 12:45, and they're all just back. So that kind of zzz, zzz you hear, I'm really sorry. I did think about going and saying, excuse me, do you think you could mind just very quietly not drilling or whatever it is you're doing for the next half an hour? But there are about, I don't know, a dozen of them, quite big lads, and I thought maybe it wouldn't go down so well. So I hope it's not too noisy and we can just live with it. But do please, I don't know, shout, yell, wave, something if it gets too bad. So today on Facebook, I've got Amy at home. Hi, Amy. Thank you very much for being with me. Amy is connected on Google Docs on my iPad. So she's able to feed me questions and things, which is really helpful. Obviously on Facebook, those of you who are new, you're super welcome here. I have two phones in front of me. One is Facebook, one is Instagram. And on Facebook, there's a lovely community, loads of chat I can see going already. Facebook, we can put links up, so that's what Amy does. She's brilliant. Anything that I talk about, it's like magic. Up pops a link that's easy for you to click on. If I talk about a podcast or a book or a feature or something, then it's there. Obviously on Instagram, we can't do that. So what we do instead is we have Linktree. So in my bio, if you've not been there before, that's a little bit of blurb about me. At the bottom, you'll see a blue line that says Linktree. If you click on that, don't do it now, do it later. If you click on that, it brings up all the links. And honestly, I think when we first started, I maybe had half a dozen links. But now, you just have to keep scrolling, because we've got so many. And honestly, it's really worth going through them all. Even if you guys on Facebook, if you have an Instagram account, do check the Linktree link because we just keep adding. So all the time we're able to find a new company to offer us a Liz Loves discount code, or all the time we've got a new feature that we want to highlight or a recipe or something. We just keep adding it. So that just means that the chain gets longer and longer. But they're all good things, and I'm always reluctant to delete them because hopefully they're going to be helpful for somebody. Also online, LizEarleWellbeing.com. We've got a whole section called Liz Loves. There's a whole section now called Liz Loves to Wear, because everybody is always asking, where's your jacket from, or your shoes, or your dress, or whatever. So now what we do is we do a little link, and we keep that going. So again, we just add to that. So if you want to check on something, head to LizEarleWellbeing.com and chances are you'll find it. Thanks, Mandy. Thanks for your nice comment. Okay, so this dress, just to let you know, this dress will hopefully go on to Liz Loves. It's a lovely little company, female founder-led brand called Sophie Dundas. And I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that we are going to set up a discount code because I love her things. I find the dresses they're all sustainable. I'll tell you the whole story another time. But I've worn them for years, and she's, again, just a little private company. So you don't see it everywhere. You don't see it in the high street. You don't even really find it online. So that's what I like to do, bring these kind of special, unique things. Which is hopefully what makes this little part of our world so special. And I just love the community. So thank you. Lovely to see so many today on Instagram. Really, really great. I have to scroll down here Oh, Sue Fuse, you're waiting for my yearbook. Yeah, so we may have a few more yearbook ones, but I'm not sure. I don't want to say that because we sold out, and I'm back here in my London studio, so I will have a really, really good look around. Yearbook 2s are also, my goodness, just flying out the door. So don't hang about if you fancy a yearbook 2. I will be talking about these today, actually, because I found, and this is my yearbook 2, and I send out signed copies. You can only get them from Liz Earle Wellbeing. You won't find them on Amazon or in any store. We privately produce them, and they are really beautiful, beautiful books, as many of you will know. I was actually looking up oils, and I was just reminded of this feature. In the magazine, we always have a feature called Liz's Larder. You may be familiar with it. And this one in the yearbook actually talks about all the lovely oils that we can have in the kitchen and all the different things that they do, from avocado to pumpkin seed, sesame, coconut, flax, walnut, extra virgin olive oil, of course. And it got me thinking, actually, about my kind of journey with oils. And, you know, back in the day, my nickname was Liz Oil. Can you imagine that? Liz Oil. Anyway, that came about because my very first book, I don't know if any of you have had it, I would love to know if any of you have still got this book on your bookshelves. This was the first book I ever wrote. It's nearly 30 years old, 30. And I know that because I was finishing the manuscript as I was going into labour with Lily, and she is very nearly 30. So that's how old it is. So this was really revolutionary at the time. Nobody was really writing about oils. And, you know, back in the day, 30 years ago, fat was seen as a really bad thing, and you had to go low fat or no fat, strip it all out of the diet. But of course, if you take good quality oils out of your diet, it's really bad for us inside. We need good quality fat as fuel. Fat is our friend, as they would say in Finding Nemo. Fish are friends, not food. Do you remember that? Was it Bruce the Shark? We were playing that the other day, so that's kind of why it popped into my head. Anyway, fish are friends and oils are friends too, very definitely. But it's the right type. It's knowing the amount and the type, and that's why provenance is really important, and labelling, and that's why I always bang on about reading the labels, see where things come from, and make sure that your fats and oils aren't damaged. So that's why I don't have any kind of hardened spreads like margarine, because it's hydrogenated, or they harden, they change the structure of oils. And we're beginning to know even more now than we did when I first wrote this. But there's still a lot here. So this was basically oils that we eat, oils for the diet. I've always been a big, big fan of extra virgin olive oil. And, you know, when I wrote this book, we didn't really know about gut health, for example. So there's not really, I don't think there's anything in here about gut health because it wasn't talked about. Nobody was using words like microbiome or fermented foods. And now we know, of course, extra virgin olive oil is incredibly good for our gut health. So there's even more reason why we should be using it. So as well as eating it and using it in our diet, of course, there's a big section here on making homemade massage blends and all sorts of body treats and things that you can do with aromatherapy oils, because I love aromatherapy too. In fact, I've got a little e-guide. You might not know this. It's an e-book. This one actually is available on Amazon. It's just $1.99, and it's your e-guide to aromatherapy oils. And I updated it not that long ago. So lots and lots of information if you want to get started on using essential oils at home, making room sprays, making body sprays, using them in homemade face packs, all that kind of thing. After I wrote Vital Oils, it was a bestseller, which was amazing for a first book, and I thought, well, that's easy. And of course, I wrote lots more that weren't bestsellers, so you know, isn't always the case. So then I wrote this one. This is a funny one. I got to share this with you. This is, just check the hair, okay? How embarrassing is that? This was published in, oh gosh, when was it published? Where was it? Must have been just after Vital Oils, because it was the follow-up, 1992. And it's all about skin. So it's Save Your Skin with Vital Oils. And I think that haircut's hysterical. Anyway, that was, you know, it was, come on, give me some slack here. It was the 80s. Everyone was wearing orange and having, you know, gelled up hair. And yeah, it was just more about oils and skin. Everyone's on Instagram's finding that very funny. What have you been saying here? Caroline, oh, I've just ordered the Sleep and Balance drops. brilliant. And received the immune drops for free using Liz Loves. Wow, fantastic. That's Life Armory. I haven't got them here to show you, for those of you who don't know. Really, really good company. Again, Amy, I know you'll pop the link on Facebook. They're on Linktree. Lovely, actually, to see feedback, because, of course, I only put up things, if it's got a Liz Loves attached to it, it means I genuinely love it, okay? They don't pay us to put that up there. I go out and I find things and I try them, and if I think they're great, then I will say, yeah, I love this, and I'll share it. And it kind of spread from what we were doing in the magazine. Those of you who have the magazine will know that at the back of the magazine, there's always been this spread actually called Liz Loves. And this has been a way just to bring it to life, not only to talk about it, but to, you know, to share it, to demonstrate. For example, if I'm doing like the True Grace candle making kit, I can actually show you how it works. And then what we try and do is we say, you know, in return for that, could you please give us a discount code that we can share? So, you know, every little helps, as they say. So then moving on from Vital Oils and Save Your Skin with Vital Oils, I did actually update the book, probably, I don't know how long ago this was, maybe 10, 12 years ago. And this is called New Vital Oils. Not very original, but there you go. New Vital Oils. The publisher thought that was a good idea. And that was updated in 2002. Gosh, 2002, where does the time go? I mean, that's 18 years ago. Wow, 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 wow. Anyway, that talks about cooking with oils, help with eczema. Again, nothing about gut health because it wasn't around in 2002. We weren't talking about it, but there's lots of information. So I just kind of throw that out there because oils really are part of my heritage. I love oils. I love talking about them. I love using them on my skin. I love overnight facial oils. I love massage with oils. And I just think that they bring so many health and beauty and well-being benefits. And talking of benefits, if you are a new subscriber or you're thinking about subscribing to the magazine, okay, which I'll talk about in a sec, we have got a £10 gift voucher from Neal's Yard. And that's very relevant today because, of course, Neal's Yard provide lots of beautiful oils, lots of essential oils. So if you didn't know this about Neal's Yard, they obviously have a really nice beauty range, and they have tinctures, and they're very kind of a medicinal herbal brand. But they also provide lots and lots of little tiny bottles of pure essential oil, like these. They've got these little iconic blue bottles. They've been going for such a long time, Neal's Yard. I remember meeting their founder. It was another female founder-led brand, Romy Fraser, and her background is a teacher. She was teaching, and she's very into education. So when I was first writing, you know, my first book on oils, I remember going to interview her and saying, you know, tell me all about your oils, what are you doing, you know, how can I learn? And Romy, she's great. I saw her not that long ago, a few years ago. She's got a farm down in Dorset, not too far from me. And Romy, if you are watching or anybody you know is watching, send you a big love. Hope you're well. And your legacy of what you've done at Neal's Yard has been great. And Neal's Yard, their headquarters actually is not far from me, down in the West Country. And I went to see them not long ago to kind of check up on them, see what they were doing. And I've got another close connection actually with Neal's Yard, and that is that when I was at the beauty company back in the day, I had a really lovely management team who worked with me. And one of the key members of the management team, Stephen, who I worked with closely for many, many years on the finance side of the beauty company before it was sold. And he is now heading up Neal's Yard. So we've stayed in touch, we're still really good friends. And I said, you know, come on, Stephen, I want to come and see what you're doing. So he gave me a tour of Neal's Yard. And you may have seen it, I put it on my Instagram, I forget when it was either maybe it was the end of last year, beginning of this year. And I was really impressed. And I think one of the things that really impresses me about them is their integrity of their production and their sourcing, because it all comes down to sourcing. You know, it's whether you're cooking a great dish, it's the quality of the ingredients that you put into that dish that make it taste great. You know, you ask any chef. And it's the same with any kind of product that you're using, whether it's a product in the home or making a beautiful plant wax candle or whatever you're doing. It's the quality of the ingredients is going to ensure that you get the better result. So I have got here some of the Neal's Yard oils, And I thought I'd talk about them today in particular, because if you are a subscriber or a new subscriber, or maybe you already subscribe but you want to give a gift subscription to somebody, then we've got a really special offer. Neal's Yard have given us a £10 gift voucher for every subscription, and you can spend it online, you can buy whatever you like. And actually I was having a look at their things online because I use a lot of lavender oil, and I've got my lavender here. This is theirs. This is the English lavender oil, which smells really, really good. And I'm going to have to just, I can't be near a bottle of lavender oil without opening it and smelling it, because it is just, you don't actually have to do anything with it. You can just waft it under your nose. And they've done clinical studies proving that the scent of lavender is very calming in the brain. It's a switch off oil, so it's very sedating. And you may have seen my little video on sleep, which is on YouTube. Sprinkle a few drops on your pillow. I used to make sprays and things with it, but you simply don't have to do that. Literally, you pop it onto your pillow, and trust me, it doesn't stain. Pillowcase washes fine. I was a bit nervous doing it at first, thinking, "Ooh, am I going to be okay with this?" Supposing I tell everyone to do it, and then everyone tells me that it stained their pillowcase. It doesn't seem to. It really doesn't. Genuinely, I've been doing this for years now. A couple of drops, last thing at night. That's part of my sleep ritual, and it kind of tells my brain it's time to be calm. Just like taking my slumber drops. It's all part of my little ritual now. So the English lavender, this lovely little bottle of a concentrated oil, and I'll talk in a second about what you can do with it, is I think £9.50. I checked it on the website. So if you get your Neal's Yard voucher as a subscriber, it's free. That is just great. But there aren't huge numbers. So, I'm putting that out there now. If you want to subscribe and get your voucher, then this is a great thing to do. And of course, you can buy anything on their website, so it doesn't have to be essential oils. So what I thought I would do is just show you, if you've got your oils. I'm just going to check my messages from Amy, make sure that everything is okay online. Oh, lots of lovely questions, so I will come back to those in just a sec. But I often talk about things that you can make. If you look at Liz Earle Wellbeing, there's lots of features. Seriously, go there. If you've got a bit of time on your hands and you'd like a bit of inspo, then head over there, just key in essential oils, and up will pop lots of things. You can make room sprays. So this is something you can buy online. You can buy glass bottles. Essential oils like being in the dark. They don't like light. They get destroyed by light and heat. So keep them somewhere cool. And that's why, Neal's Yard, for example, are always in the lovely dark blue, or you can use kind of traditional apothecary bottles here that are in the dark brown glass to protect them. Just like olive oil, you should keep that in dark glass as well. Never buy any oil, any cooking oil should always be in a dark glass bottle to protect it from rancidity. So this is just spring water, mineral water, and I've just put in, some lovely, lovely essential oils. And they're very purifying in the atmosphere, and essential oils are all antibacterial, all of them, some less and some more depending. So you can just pop in however you want them to be fragrance. And I know people make linen sprays, for example, for ironing, so you could put in a few drops of chamomile and lavender. I've got my favourite here. Can you guess what my favourite is? Other than lavender, obviously. Brain training. Hi, how are you? You got to be careful with the oils. So the glass bottles you can get online. Neal's Yard also sell them, so they're quite easy to find. But this one is neroli. Oh, that smell! Love neroli. Don't get me started on neroli again. Who has got the Prosody Neroli Nuance fragrance? Oh my goodness, that is just transporting me. I love that smell so much. And you get 20% off with Liz Loves. So yeah, neroli, well done. Well done, well done. What's this about hiding? Okay, Beth is saying, I used to pop essential oils on cotton balls, then I'd hide them in the class near the heater. Makes a difference, maybe more for me. Wow, are you a teacher, Beth? That's great. I find it, my youngest, he's 10, and doesn't always want to go to bed, so we created this little ritual, and part of that is putting a few drops of lavender oil on his pillow. And now he's got a little he's got his own bottle in his bedroom, and now it's kind of that part of that whole thing. I put lavender oil in his bath, and it's just that unwinding, and he just loves it, and it's that signal to the brain that it's time to stop. Anyway, I'm going to pop a couple of drops of neroli into my room spray. And the reason that essential oils, I have to say, are so expensive for tiny bottles is they last for ages because you're just using tiny, tiny amounts. So I think it's something like 1 drop of rose oil is maybe 50 roses. I mean, it's something phenomenal. And you need to get the real deal. There's an awful lot of adulteration. You can cut oils with other things. They're very hard to trace. There's a lot of unscrupulous people out there, and that's why I only like to buy from trusted brands, because you know that they've done all the homework for you, and they're really making sure that you get good quality essential oils. There's also a lot of kind of pyramid selling and mass market selling, and that, you know, is tricky, because that kind of can sometimes skew the information that you get. So buy from trusted sources. Oh, love it. So great. So I've got my neroli there. Now, if you do get Neal's Yard or any oil, actually, what you need to look for, just as a little point here, is you need to look for the Latin name, because the Latin name is the botanical species. So, for example, I've got geranium here. This is one of my favourites. Geranium, and this variety of geranium that they're using is Pelargonium graveolens. So that tells me that they're not just shoving any old geranium oil into a bottle, or frankly any old synthetic, and calling it geranium. They're actually saying, we know the variety, we know the species, so always, you know, whatever brand you buy, make sure that it says the botanical name on it. And this, I was really pleased to see actually that Neal's Yard, I think, are one of the first, if not the first, to carry lots of different labels on them. So this is fair trade and fair for life. So again, showing sustainability. It's all about being ethical, isn't it? It's all about buying the right thing, doing the right thing, paying people fair wages, because a lot of these essential oils are produced in developing countries. I've been obviously to East Africa a lot in my time, and been on amazingly scented farms growing things like melissa and clary sage and geranium and lavender and all sorts. I've got melissa here, in fact. This one's melissa officinalis, and it says it's distilled from the herb, so that's how we know. And it's quite it's like lemon balm. And melissa's quite interesting. Melissa is reputedly antiviral. Now, I'm not obviously making any kind of virus claims here at all, but what I've done in the past is I've used a tiny drop in some olive oil, and I know other people who've done this, and just used it on the first little tingling of a cold sore. And that, you know, many people say that it works for them, so, you know, it could be helpful. It's anecdotal evidence, it's not clinical evidence at all, but certainly a lot of aromatherapists will vouch for that. So that's melissa. I've also got here rosemary, and you know that old, was it the line in Shakespeare, rosemary for remembrance? I don't know when he wrote that. Was that 1600s or something? Probably terribly wrong on that, but anyway. And rosemary. Rosemary is the opposite to lavender, whereas lavender is very calming. Rosemary is uplifting. Okay, so rosemary is the one that if you're about to take your driving test, this is the one that you want to smell. Forget the lavender, you want to be sharp. So rosemary and peppermint, that's another one that's very energizing. I know there are some, you know, factories overseas where they put peppermint in the air conditioning systems, so everybody kind of works harder and faster and is more alert. So these oils, they connect with the limbic system in the brain, and they do have some sort of therapeutic activity. So what I like to do is make a really simple massage base. So again, I got from Neal's Yard, you can buy their massage base oil. It's a really good quality oil, and it's a mixture. They've got 3 oils in here. They've got sunflower, almond and wheat germ. Wheat germ is the richest natural source of oil of vitamin E. So if I pour a little bit into a bowl, you'll just be able to see this really lovely. It's a very, very nice texture. Oops, a bit more of that so you can see it. It's just a lovely textured oil. And the rule of thumb is roughly 7 drops of essential oil to about a tablespoonful of your base oil. And you don't need to have an expensive base oil. You can actually use grapeseed. That's really light. A lot of massage therapists will use just plain basic grapeseed. You can buy it from a supermarket, you can get it online, you can get it from health food shops. So into that, I am going to put, what am I going to have in my massage blend? I tell you what I'm going to put. I am going to have just a little bit of rosemary, because this is a blend that I'd quite like to use during the day for like muscles if you've been working out. So I'm just going to put, I've probably got about 2 tablespoons of the base oil, so I'll put maybe 5 drops of rosemary. It's not an exact science, you know, you can play along with it. And actually, when you're talking about the flower oils, some of the herbs can be quite strong, and they can be a little bit more sensitizing. But if you're using the flower oils, the oils from the petals like rose, melissa, you could use, maybe not Melissa, but rose, lavender, ylang ylang, which is that really lovely, very sweet sort of florally fragrance. Neroli, obviously, let's pop a little bit of neroli in there. And geranium. And geranium is a good oil to use because it's quite inexpensive. There we go, just a few drops of neroli because that's a more expensive one. There we go. It's quite sticky actually. Is that going to come out? Come on, there you go. Maybe another one for luck. Geranium, you've probably heard me talk about rose-scented geranium before, and geranium is a good one to use if you want the lovely rosy smell, but obviously Rose Absolute, you can buy Rose Absolute from Neil's Yard actually, it's quite pricey, it is amazing, what a treat, a couple of drops of that in the bath, just transforms, lovely. So yes, you can use rose obviously, but geranium is less expensive and gives you a similar aroma. So I'm going to get a good sprinkling of that. And you can either pop that in a bottle if you want to. So I could just transport that and put that into my little spray bottle here. And then I've got that as a body spray. Or if you just want to make up your own blend in the morning, depends on how you feel. You know, do you need to be calm? Or do you need to be perked up a bit? You know, do you need to have your mood improved? Or do you need just to chill? So you just kind of swirl those around together. Put my fingers in there. And, oh, smells great. Really good combo. I have to remember that. Neroli, rosemary and geranium. Love it. And what I like about Neil's Yard is that in their little boxes, and I guess this comes back to Romy Fraser's original vision for her brand, is they have really good instruction leaflets. So they've got, whenever you get the oils, it tells you, it's got a little introduction, it tells you how to use them. So it's got the dilution table, it's got the actions. Oh, this is a nice one here, optimism and balancing. These are the different blends that they do. And then on the back is all the different ones. I don't know how many you've got here. Gosh, you must have, I don't know, 30 or so in alphabetical order. So we start with basil. Botanical Baz. Yes, basil. And basil, the properties of basil are energizing, and it's steam distilled from the herb. It says, stimulating, sweet and peppery. This is a great restorative when overwrought. I have to remember that. Certainly basil, our little dog, is a great restorative when we're overwrought. This blends well with bergamot, chamomile and lavender. There we go, interesting. And then it goes through them in alphabetical: bay, bergamot, black pepper, cardamom, cedarwood, chamomile, different types of chamomile. You've got Roman chamomile and blue chamomile. Frankincense, another of my all-time favourites. Love frankincense. In the evening, you know, you can put frankincense in a little diffuser, an oil diffuser, and you just get that lovely kind of meditative, almost kind of churchy smell that is just, it's very, again, very sedating, very calming, and that works well with neroli, it works well with lavender. And then moving through to some of my other favourites here, patchouli. You know, who doesn't love a bit of patchouli oil? And he brings out the old hippie in us, doesn't it? And then you've got things that are really perhaps a bit more therapeutic for colds and flu, things like thyme, eucalyptus, pine. These, you know, you can make them into chest rubs if you're feeling chesty, really good for inhalations. You can add a few drops into a bowl of steaming water, pop a towel over your head. Oh, do that lovely inhalation. You know, so many ways to use these. And then finishing off here with vetiver. That's obviously used a lot in perfumery and particularly for aftershaves. It's quite a lovely masculine smell. And ylang ylang, the last one, last but not least. Oh, ylang ylang, key action, relaxing. Steam distilled from the flowers, sensual and floral, soothing for the emotions, helping to create a sense of calm. Lovely. Oh, I'm so pleased to have got back and discovered my essential oils again. And it's just such a lovely thing to have because you can build on them and you can create a little collection of things that you like and they last for ages. If you're using them in the bath, a little tip, put them in at the last minute because the heat of the hot water in the bath breaks them down. So to get the most out of them, run your bath. When your bath is finished running, then add your essential oils and then kind of swoosh them around with your hand. And you can add a little bit of milk if you want to help them disperse, or a little bit of oil. Just be careful because it makes the bathtub slippery. But Great, great ways to use them. So thank you, Heart, for Neil's Yard, for the voucher. If you want to get that, then go to lizearlewellbeing.com or click on any of the links that Amy or Linktree will give you. And that is for subscribing. So at the moment, this issue is in the stores. And thank you for all of you who've told me where you found your copies. Marks and Spencer's seems to be leading the way, closely followed by Waitrose. But as many of you will know, because I've mentioned before, we are sadly coming out of retail. So this issue will be the very last one that you will find in the stores. And it's just going to be much better for us as a business. It's going to be more sustainable. We're not going to be overprinting and pulping and waste. And obviously the whole thing with the pandemic, when all the retail outlets shut, that was really, really challenging for us. Something like 70% of our copies were just pulped, and it was so distressing. And I vowed that would not happen again. So I thought, do you know what? I think there are enough of us out there to subscribe directly. So if you'd like to help keep us going in print, consider taking out a subscription or sharing it as a gift with somebody else. So if you subscribe, then this is the cover that you're getting. Okay, so they're the same magazine inside. It's just this one's got all the shouty stuff on it for retail, whereas this one has just got the lovely calm. So in the future, we won't need to have all the shouty words on the front, which is great, because honestly, coming up with these words, that takes my team and I, it's a good day and a half, because we play around with what's going to work best and what's going to fit, and oh dear. Whereas now, we don't need to, because we'll just go, it's all just lovely. And you'll know it because you'll be subscribing. Anyway, the deal is at the moment 6 copies for the price of 5, so you've got your saving, free P&P for the UK, and at the moment your lovely £10 Neil's Yard voucher. So it's a good time. It's a very, very good time to grab it. So moving on from oils, I just wanted to share another couple of things with you that I discovered since being back here in my studios. And actually I had a question. Let me just look and see who the question has come from. It has come from, if I can get back into my iPad. This is from Angela on Facebook. Hi Angela, I'm not sure if you're watching me today. You say, how much kombucha do you drink every day? Very good question. So kombucha, if you have been living under a stone and not paying attention to my Instagram lives or my Facebook lives, is this lovely fermented tea. So you brew it yourself or you can buy it, and it's something that I've been doing for I don't know how long, 25 years maybe. I remember doing an episode of my Liz Earle lifestyle show back in the day with Leslie Joseph, she was the actress Birds of a Feather. Do you remember Leslie? Love Leslie, she's so funny. And showing her the kombucha SCOBY that I was growing in my airing cupboard. And she was so funny about it, and she just was like, I'm freaked out, what's that alien doing in your cupboard? Because it kind of takes on a life of its own. And if you want to make your own kombucha, by the way, go to lizearlewellbeing.com. There's a whole section about how to do it. Tastes delicious. Really good. This one I didn't make. This is from Holos. Holos is another great female founder-led brand. What I particularly like about them is 2 things. One, it's genuine kombucha, and I'll show you how I know in a minute because I tested it. So it's the real deal. So it provides you with really good beneficial bacteria for your gut. So it's really good for fermenting and drinking to help improve gut health. It should be one of our 5K a day. Kombucha, kefir, kraut, kamut, and kimchi. 5Ks, okay? Which I'll talk about another time, but those of you who are regulars I know would have heard me talk about kombucha. Kombucha is a really good thing to get into. My kids drink it. They really like it. You can dilute it, or you can have it neat. You can serve it in a wine glass, chilled over ice in the evening instead of a glass of wine. So it just kind of just makes you feel that you're drinking something a little bit more special. You can zhuzh it up a bit with a splash of vodka in a martini glass, perhaps on a Friday night. So lots of lovely ways that you can get good gut health by drinking kombucha. Holos Kombucha we have a deal with. I think it's 10% using Liz Loves. You can subscribe and they'll deliver you a whole delicious box of, I think, 12 bottles to your door. Really great. So you've always got that in the fridge. It's a good soft drink option, obviously for drivers. It's good for teenagers, any age. I think it's just a really good thing to have. There's no prescribed amount. It's like, how much soft drink do you want to drink? I mean, I think be guided by your own body. Obviously, you're not going to drink gallons of it, but glass or two a day, you know, absolutely fine. If you are worried about teeth enamel, and obviously drinking things like smoothies and juices, they can be quite damaging for tooth enamel. You can drink it through a straw if you want, or just, you know, I don't bother, to be honest, I just sip it. The other reason I like Holos as a brand is not only is it the real thing, but they also support victims of domestic violence and sex trafficking. So they support women, and it's amazing, their work. Have a look at their website. They are really good. Again, we've got codes. Liz loves, Amy, I know that you'll pop a link to it. And UK said kombucha is making you bloated, but you can drink kefir. That's really interesting. I would go back to it, you know, and try a little bit. You know, you don't need much. These gut bugs are extraordinarily powerful. Sometimes you just need a teaspoon, and it's worth persevering. But what I did while I was away, I got my bottle of Holos kombucha, and sometimes you can see little bits floating in real kombucha, and that's a good sign. Okay, don't think it's gone off. You actually want to see those little particles. So what I did was I left it in a jar in the fridge, and I have grown a SCOBY. I know it looks a bit yuck, but that is an amazing SCOBY here, which I can then make more kombucha from. And that shows that it's the real deal, because if you get a commercial kombucha that maybe doesn't have the real thing in it, or heaven forbid it's been pasteurised or something like that, then that's not going to grow. But this has actually grown. And in fact, I'm going to be doing a lot more. I'm working on a really exciting gut health collaboration, which may be ready next week, I'm not sure. But anyway, watch this space, because it's all about home fermenting and growing stuff and making delicious things. And if you haven't yet got your free download, it's free for the month of July. So kind of lost track of where we are in July, but the month is racing ahead, so don't miss out on it. I've actually printed out my copy, but it's a download, so you can either print it out or not. It's called A Flatter, Happier Tum. Lots in here actually about bloating, and so I don't know whether you've read that, but it talks about you know, your gut bugs, where to get them from. It's got recipes in here. It's got information about intermittent fasting, for example, all the different types of bacteria and what they all do. I always get asked, you know, what's the best type to take? What should I give my kids? Do you take probiotics if you're on antibiotics? And the answer is the quick answer is yes. But you know, I put in some of the brands that I really like here. These are some of the personal ones that I use. So yeah, lots and lots and lots in there. There's a water kefir recipe here. There is lots of kefir. I mean, there's just lots and lots and lots. Anyway, if you haven't yet got yours, it's normally going to be, I think, $4.99 as a download. But for the first month of July, by Muno, who make that great prebiotic for the gut, they have sponsored it for July. So that means that we can all download it free, which is great. So thank you very much to by Muno. So that is all about kombucha. So I hope that that has answered your question. I've got a few more quick questions here before I go. Where does the time go? Honestly, it seems like I just sit here, and before I know it, it is. Oh, who's this who's got a chest infection? Vanessa. Yeah, definitely worth trying a little bit of pine and thyme in your essential oil. Oh, lovely. Lots and lots of chat going on. If you buy water kefir, where do you buy the grains? Buy them online. But actually wait, because next week I have got something special coming, which will tell you all about all these different types of scobies and grains and all sorts, starters. So mustn't say too much, otherwise I'll get into trouble with my team, because that's coming up next week. But in the meantime, do please make sure that you've got your download, so that you're all kind of ready prepared for that. And feel free to share it. As I say, it's free. So, you know, go online, get the link, just email it or send it out on message, whatever, to friends, and say, look, grab it while you can, because it's free. Just before I go, I wanted to touch on HRT. You may have seen, and I took a screenshot of it this morning. Where have I got it here? Oh, I can never find my way around these things here. I took a picture of it to show you. Oh no, I didn't. I put it on Instagram. Let me just go. So it's the Manchester Menopause Hive, who, as we know, is Dr. Zoe Hodson, who's been doing all this research into estradiol versus estrogel. Anyway, there's an update, and it's not a good one. So this is a box. Can you see that? It's a box that says on it estrogel. Guess what's inside it? Yes. Inside it is a pump that says estrogel, but it has a label. And when you peel off the label on the pump inside the box, guess what it says? Yeah, it says estradiol. So this is her post. Dr. Zoe Hodson has posted this morning. I've had to wait until now to post this as it makes me just so frustrated, enraged. Lots of other emotions and terrible language. Not good for a doctor, terrible language. Meet the latest interloper. Thank you to the women who sent these to me. This is estradiol, over-labelled with the name estrogel, in a box that clearly says estrogel. I have no idea how this is legal, and I have emailed Bessins again. I probably won't have time to speak to them until Thursday, but I really don't understand how this can be allowed. Are there any clever pharmacy types out there who can explain it slowly? So yeah, so it has all the labels, and if you're on Instagram and you're affected by these gels, you know, I mean, it is just such a shocker. And as somebody said to me just the other day, you know, that would not happen with Viagra. It just wouldn't, would it? It wouldn't happen with testosterone, no. And the issue is not the fact that it is over-labelled, although that is a serious issue, obviously. It's the fact that it's not working, and that women are being disadvantaged, and they're getting a return of menopause symptoms. Sleepless nights, hot sweats, low mood, anxiety, and of course all the things that we don't know about, like bone protection, for example. Presumably that's not happening either. So it is a shocker, and as I mentioned to you before, I am in direct contact now with the MHRA, who are the Medicines Regulatory Authority, and we are trying to get some traction, and there are also a team of lawyers who are advising behind the scenes, so we are on it. But thank you for sharing your experiences. Quick question here from Linda on Facebook. What essential oil would you use to make into a massage oil to help with scars? The key thing with scarring is to get your base oil right. So you want something with a high level of vitamin E, so wheat germ, avocado, they'd be very good base oils. But also, interestingly, argan oil. Argan oil is one of my favourites. It comes from Morocco, and it's been shown to have properties similar in some ways to retinol, natural retinol. And that can help with scarring. It's not an overnight fix by any means. You need to use it, you know, maybe 2 or 3 times a day regularly. And of course the action of massage is going to help break down the scar as well. And the fresher and younger the scar, the easier it is to treat. If you've got something that's really old, then that's going to, you know, be quite hard. And for something like that, I would actually recommend, if it's really bothering you, looking at something like lasers. I've written a lot about lasers in the magazine. I go for laser facials. I think they're very good. And it's using light, high intensity light, to really just help stimulate the production of new skin cells and just keep skin looking fresher. And it can also be very helpful for scarring, whether that's acne scarring or post-surgical scarring or stretch marks, all that kind of thing. So take a look online on the Liz Earle Wellbeing website. I hope that is helpful. In terms of an essential oil, there's nothing that I've seen any clinical evidence for to say that one essential oil is better than the other. So I think make sure that your base oil is good, lots of vitamin E in that, and you can enrich it. You can get a vitamin E capsule, pierce it with a pin, and stick that into your massage blend. Oh, what's happened here? Reconnecting. Sorry. Rosehip oil. Thank you, Beth. Absolutely. Rosehip and argan. Really, really good. Rosehip also has similar properties. It's got this natural phytochemical in it that's really good for helping with scars, but it's not an overnight fix by any means. I'm sorry, I think we had a blip on Instagram, so I hope you're back with me okay. Just to say, because I've got the 2 platforms, I've got Facebook and I've got Instagram, please don't forget, if one goes down for whatever reason, do hop over onto the other one. And then what we also do at the end of each recording is Amy very cleverly uploads the whole lot onto YouTube. So a big hi if you're watching on YouTube. I'm sorry the format isn't right, because you're having to watch us like this rather than like that on YouTube. That is something that we're going to work on. And in the future, we'll probably do a separate I don't know whether I can find a third phone or something and do it a different way so that we get the right format for YouTube when we're kind of all hopefully working with a bit more normality. But for now, big hi to YouTube. And again on YouTube, we put all the links in a little piece below the video that you're watching on YouTube. So you can click on that. And of course they stay up. The great thing about YouTube is that it's there. It's very easy to navigate. If you haven't yet subscribed to Liz Earle Wellbeing on YouTube, do please subscribe, because you'll also find all my exercise videos on there and my makeup videos, and they're much easier to find because you can just search. You can just put Liz Earle exercise or Liz Earle makeup or sleep or whatever, and they'll come up from Liz Earle Wellbeing. So just make sure that you get Liz Earle Wellbeing. Otherwise you might end up with a load of beauty company ones. But if you want the Liz Earle Wellbeing ones, then that's what you need to go to, and that's who you need to follow. Quick question here: what's the ratio when using essential oils or water spray? And that's from Ali on Instagram. I think it depends on what fragrance you're using and what you're using it for. So for example, if I was making a linen spray, I'd want it super light. I'd just want a few drops. I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 drops in, quite a big, that's probably about 200 mils maybe. If I was making a room spray and wanting it to be a bit punchier, I really want to get that lovely aroma going, or maybe for the bathroom, wanting to use it as a real freshen up with some antiseptic properties, so using things like thyme and pine and eucalyptus to get that lovely fresh smell, then I'd probably use 3 or 4 times that. I'd maybe make it in a smaller bottle and have maybe 10, 15 drops, possibly more. It depends on the strength of your essential oil. Really good to keep one of these in the loo as well. Yeah. So you can make a natural room fragrance. You don't have to go out and buy these expensive aerosols that are obviously very polluting. Just make your own, just and diffuse it into the atmosphere. And you get the benefit of breathing in the antiseptic essential oils as well, which is really helpful. Have I got any tips on dealing with excess hair? Yes, we have covered that in the magazine. I'm not sure what we've got online about it, hair removal. I'm pretty sure we have got something. Amy, maybe you can pop something up on Facebook, and do check on the Liz Earle Wellbeing website. If you go to lizearlewellbeing.com, there's a little search button, put in hair removal. A couple of other quick questions on HRT. Quick question, re-HRT, and then I'll probably have to stop, I think. This is from Warriors, Not Worriers. Love that. What a great handle. That's on Instagram. Warriors, Not Worriers. That's what we should all be. Wellbeing warriors. And you say, quick question, re-HRT. I'm thinking of speaking to someone soon about it for me. Did you find it helped your aches and pains? Definitely. And this is something that we don't talk about often enough. So many midlife women, you get into your 40s, you start to feel a bit achy, a bit creaky, you think, oh, it's just my joints and whatever. Chances are it's lowered levels of estrogen causing those aches. And I know so many women, and I've had messages, from literally hundreds and hundreds of women about symptoms for menopause, and very often they will say, I had really very dodgy knees, achy elbows, terrible neck ache, backache and whatever. My GP didn't understand about menopause and low estrogen, and I went off and I saw rheumatologists, and I'm on anti-arthritis drugs and all of this, and actually very often replacing estrogen can help with aches and pains. And these are some of the things that we don't talk about. You tend to think that HRT or menopause is all about hot flushes, and of course for many women it is. But for others, it's all those little invidious things that we don't piece together in the jigsaw. For me, it was lack of sleep, and tinnitus, hearing problems, because we have estrogen receptors in our ears. It can increase anxiety as we lose estrogen from the brain. Really good podcast if that's affecting you. If you are caught up in a circuit of anxiety and you are kind of perimenopause age, from sort of early 40s onwards and going into later life as well, because this is something that can follow you right the way through the decades, do listen to my podcast with Dr. Rebecca Lewis, specifically on estrogen and anxiety. And the problem with taking antidepressants for anxiety caused by low estrogen is they don't work, because you're not fixing your low estrogen, you're just numbing your feelings. So lots and lots. I mean, I could obviously go on for hours, and as many of you lovely regulars know, I do go on for hours. I won't now. But what I will say though, warriors, not worriers, is please download. I haven't got a copy here, but I've got an e-guide online, The Truth About HRT. There's also the Healthy Menopause, which is your basic menopause download. You know, if this is all new to you, new territory, you're listening to this for the first time going, oh my goodness, what is she talking about? Because we tend to go off, you know, for those of us who've been following it or been in the middle of it for a long, long time, we kind of fast track down to a specific subject like estradiol versus estrogel. And, you know, if you're a newbie, you're thinking, you're talking a language I don't understand. So, you know, you can really do a fast track and get yourself up to speed. Download my e-guide to menopause, followed by download to The Truth About HRT. And actually, we need to update that now, actually, with a lot of this estradiol stuff. But there's a very good fact sheet on the estradiol versus estrogel issue on menopausedoctor.co.uk. And that's the brilliant website. So many resources there, completely free to download. And who's downloaded the Balance app? Another great free app from Dr. Louise Newson. Big shout out to that. So, so helpful. And that's something that is free to download on your phone, and so many interesting links and information on that, and she updates it with so much good stuff. So I love all that. I love all this kind of lovely free stuff that we can pop out there and that we can share it and that we can just spread good news. That's what this whole thing is about. That's what, you know, my life's work at Liz Earle Wellbeing has been since starting writing for magazines and writing books. I was doing an interview with somebody yesterday and they said, so, you know, when did you start? And it was like 35 years ago. How can it be that long? But it is. And, you know, all these books, you know, writing, you know, Vital Oils, nearly 30 years old. And still writing about oils. You know, you look at the latest one, you know, the Liz Earle Wellbeing Yearbook too. You know, all about oils. And in fact, I did check in here because I did find... it's not all recipes. I know lots of you have been making those delicious recipes that I was doing earlier, but there's a great piece here on honey, and this has got a recipe for a moisturising honey mask, and this is using lavender oil. This is using yogurt, manuka honey, oats and lavender oil. Something that I'm going to be cooking later just to share with you. Quite fancy that. I haven't had any seafood for a long time, and there's a really lovely fishmonger in town that I know, Rex Goldsmith. He and I, we follow each other on Instagram and often chat, and I might go and pay him a visit. And there's a couple of dishes here in the yearbook too. There's a buckwheat seafood paella. Don't know whether anybody's made that, but I thought for the weekend that looked really yummy. And the other one, which is possibly a little simpler, is grilled sardines. Lots of omega-3s, great essential fats in sardines. And of course you should crunch the bones because they're full of calcium. And this is with capers, anchovies and fennel puree. Oh my goodness, how good does that look? That is definitely going to be a supper dish. It says a wonderfully tasty oily fish. Sardines are an excellent source of vitamin D. Yes, we need to be on our vitamin D. Omega-3 as well as essential minerals, and the fennel and garlic puree is the perfect accompaniment. I am feeling hungry already. Anyway, signed copies available if you would like. I'll be back with you on Friday. I've got a great guest on Friday. I'm going to be sharing the screen with top hairdresser, celebrity hairdresser Josh Wood. And we're going to be talking all about colour. We're going to be talking about home hair dye, how to do it, how not to do it. Lots and lots of chat. So I'm really looking forward to that. I do hope that you will join me. I'm so great. I mean, lovely to hear all these comments. Thank you. Jenny Buckland, love my yearbooks. I'm so pleased. Amy, thank you. Yeah, it's a great article on vitamin D on Liz Earle Wellbeing website, all about how to get it, why you need it, especially at the moment. Lots and lots of chat about COVID-19 and vitamin D, so do please take a little look at that. Anyway, I'm sending you lots of love. So nice to be back with you. And you know, our scaffolders, they weren't too bad, were they? Maybe they heard me. Or maybe somebody went out and waved a flag at them, I'm not sure. And they said, look what's going on here, much more important than scaffolding. Anyway, sending you loads of love. Don't forget to get your £10 Neil's Yard voucher. If you make anything, please tag me. Liz Earle Me on Instagram, and then Liz Earle Wellbeing magazine, obviously, on Facebook. I shall look forward to seeing you Friday. Take care. Lots of love. Bye-bye.